Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Angela's Autistic Kitchen, where I make things that I don't normally like, and you guys follow along for recipes for stuff that you guys may not like, and I rate them so that you guys don't have to search so hard. Tonight, I'm making tacos. Just had a craving for them, and they are a great food for like an all-in-one meal, you know? So I'm gonna start with the meat. I have beef. You guys could probably use turkey if you're not looking for something with so much fat, a little more protein, something leaner. Or you could use, please don't. You could also use a vegetable meat substitute, that sort of thing. If meat is just not your thing, totally get it. Like I said, meat. And for the sides, I have a bit of onion that I need to use up, some peppers. They're the thing that I don't normally like, but I am attempting to branch out a little bit. And cabbage. I highly recommend just putting a gigantic head of cabbage into your fridge at all times. Like, one of these will last a single person a month, and that's like using it for meals at least once a week, if not more. Great, like, I don't want to say poverty food. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Anyway. And those were the measuring spoons, which you will want. I have a tablespoon measurement here, a fourth teaspoon and half teaspoon right here. And those are for the spices. Now, I have quite a bit here. If you don't catch everything while I move them in front of the camera, that is okay. This is a recipe that I did not make myself. Like, I didn't make the spice mix, but it's one that I use every single time I'm trying to make taco meat or anything with taco seasoning. So I will put the recipe for you in the description.
To start, you'll want to chop up the onion. I had about a quarter of one left. And then the peppers, and finally the cabbage. Order of operations, smallest to largest. If you haven't cut peppers before, just know that there's going to be a hollow space on the inside. That's where the seed clump is. The photo on screen now should demonstrate what I'm talking about. You'll want to chop the ends off the pepper so that you can see inside, and then cut the seed clump out from the pepper. Otherwise, you're going to be getting random pockets of spiciness throughout the taco once it's assembled.
Now, I don't have a GoPro or anything here, so this is going to be really sketchy, but I did want to kind of show you guys how I cut up my shredded cabbage. You just find a nice little corner, and you start cutting like that. Obviously, again, I don't have a GoPro. I kind of wish I did now, but that will have to be a upgrade for a later video, perhaps. Now that you have everything chopped, you can pull out a pan. I'm using this rather large, I think it's like, I want to say like 16, 18-inch pan. Yeah, it's got the brand name on the back, Hexclad. Very nice pan, non-stick. It goes into your dishwasher just fine. And even though it's non-stick, I tend to use a cooking spray for it anyway. I have this avocado oil spray by Chosen. It's a very nice cooking oil with a slightly higher smoke point than olive oil, if I recall correctly. So I am going to put my oven on about medium. My oven runs rather, or my stovetop runs rather hot, so this might be a bit of a trial and error thing between different ovens and stovetops, but I'm gonna turn that on, spray a good amount in, and come over here and grab the chopped up condiments. Just gonna throw them all in. The cabbage is a pretty thick veggie, so in my experience, it has about the same cook point as onions and peppers, but this is just what I do. Don't worry too much about seasoning this stuff because it's all going to go in with the meat, and that will be more than enough seasoning and flavor added in. I had to pull up my recipe here. I normally do this on my phone. I keep a whole bunch of recipes on my OneNote and I just access it through my phone that way, but that won't really work here. So for the taco seasoning, you will need 1 tablespoon chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon ground cumin, you will also need 1/2 teaspoon cayenne powder. I prefer a little more of a subtle spice, so I like to use red chili flakes instead. It has about the same effect. You will need 1/2 teaspoon turmeric, 1 teaspoon paprika, and then equal 1/2 teaspoons each of garlic, salt, oregano, and onion powder with a 1/4 teaspoon pepper. So I've just got regular ground spices here.
To assemble the seasoning, just pile in the paprika, chili powder, cumin, cayenne or red pepper flakes, turmeric, onion and garlic powders, oregano, salt, and pepper. Throw it all on the meat. It doesn't really matter whether you mix it together first or not.
When you are done putting in all the spices, just you can choose any way you like to mix it up. Sometimes in the past I've used a little wooden spoon, but I found that in practice it's a lot easier to just use my hand. So just stick it in there and pretend it's bread and start mixing it up. And over time, you should get a pretty good consistency of spices throughout the ground meat. And in the time it took for me to just mix all the seasoning into the meat, the veggies are done. So now I'm going to grab a bowl, stick them in there, and there they may stay until I am ready to put them on the rest of the taco.
As you can see, the veggies have shrunk a little, but don't worry, there's still plenty enough for a single taco, probably even 2 or 3. It just depends on the amount of veggies you've chopped up. Once you finish mixing the spices into the ground beef, it should look something like this, and you are ready to throw it onto the stove.
You may be wondering, Angela, isn't that the same pan you just cooked the veggies in? Yes it is. Full disclosure, I am terribly lazy when it comes to dishes. I do not like doing any more dishes than I have to. So we are just gonna slap the meat right in. Missed a chunk. There we go. Spray a teensy bit more. oil on here, I think, just to make sure it doesn't stick. And we are good to go to start basically doing the same thing that we did to the veggies and push the meat around and wait for it to brown. So in doing this, I will often just stab at the meat to try to break it up into chunks. You want it to be fairly chunky if you want a good amount of taco meat. Normally, I guess that once we're at the stage where meat is put into the pan, wake up a little bit. There we go. Once the meat gets into the pan, it is not a long time before it starts browning. I would guesstimate probably 5 to 10 minutes at most to being totally done and ready to assemble the taco. So, as long as you have all the ingredients ready to go, this is actually a fairly quick dinner. So this is getting to be about done here. It's been barely 2 or 3 minutes since I ended the last video, last little segment. And as you can see, with this big old pan, 1 pound of meat, it's nothing for a stovetop. Like, this is about ready to serve. You will know that the meat is ready when you don't really see any of the pink that you started with, and it's all very brown. Maybe it's got some of this reddish looking juice coming out of it. That is just extra oil put off by any rendered fat within the meat and mixed with the yummy taco seasonings.
Once the meat's cooked, you can start assembling your taco. It's here that I have to come clean and admit that the peppers weren't the only thing I tried differently. The tortilla that I used is a much smaller one, meant for soft shell tacos instead of larger American burritos. I normally do the burrito sized tortillas instead of taco sized because they're cleaner and you can fold in the filling so that it doesn't spill all over your plate. But that's perfectionism talking and learning how to, not be so much of a perfectionist. Target ended up having some zero carb, smaller tortillas on sale, and I've never really tried to make a soft shell taco myself, so I just grabbed them. Anyway, to begin assembly, just pull the meat off the burner and begin. I threw some pre-shredded cheese onto the side of the shell, then layered in the veggies from earlier, some meat, and some more cheese to hold it all together. I threw some sour cream onto the plate because that's the only taco condiment I have at the moment, and I saved the fork that I used to put the veggies on to catch any dropped filling once I ate the meal later.
There you go. If you followed all those instructions, you should have a taco ready to eat in front of you. So now that it's cooled off a teensy bit, let's try it. It should look a little bit like this from the side or top. Yeah, top. This is going to be messy, but what are tacos for if not getting messy? Oh, hi. Are you testing the tacos too? I don't think you'd want it. And besides, you can't have it anyway. Fun little fact. Cats are incredibly not good when combined with onions. Onions of any kind, any part of the plant, they will basically be a poison to your cat. Humans are cool. We can eat onions. Cats cannot. keep your cat from having onions. So the peppers were the thing that I tried different here. I don't usually like the mini peppers. I normally go for larger bell peppers, which have a little bit less of the peppery, juicy flavor. What I tell you, it's gonna be messy. Oh God. But in combination with taco meat, they're honestly not that much different from their larger cousins. I gotta say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I am going to eat my dinner.